All right, let's talk about the ultimate cheat code for, well, all of culture. We're going to dive into why so many new movies, games, and books feel weirdly familiar. And here's the thing, it is absolutely not an accident. I'm sure you know the feeling, right? You're watching the latest blockbuster, you're playing a new release, and you just get this unshakable sense of déjà vu. It's like you know exactly where the story's going. But what if that feeling wasn't just a coincidence? What if it was a clue, pointing to a hidden system that's running the show behind the scenes, deciding what gets made?
Okay, so to get a handle on this system, you've got to picture culture as a giant game. And this game is being played by two hidden teams, each one using a completely different rulebook.
Think of it this way. On one side, you have Team Formula. Their mission? To make the world's most perfect hamburger. They're not trying to invent a whole new kind of food, right? They're just mastering a classic to give you something that's super satisfying, predictable, and delicious. Then you've got Team Break the Rules. They're the total opposite. Think haute cuisine. Their whole goal is to create something you've never tasted before, to surprise you, maybe even challenge you with something brand new. And these two strategies, they create these really visible patterns across our cultural map. So imagine every story ever told is a single dot. Team Formula, their goal is to make these tight little clusters of dots. This is your genre fiction, fantasy, mystery, you name it. Every news story wants to be close to the others because, hey, predictability sells. But Team Break the Rules, they're doing the exact opposite. They're looking for empty space on that map, trying to push away from all the other dots to create something truly unique. Okay, and here is where it gets really fascinating. This whole pattern, it isn't just about art and stories. It's actually a fundamental rhythm that drives progress in science itself. So the historian of science, Thomas Kuhn, he had a name for this stable, hamburger-making phase. He called it normal science. This is basically the day-to-day work. It's when most scientists agree on the rules of the game, and they spend their time solving puzzles inside that shared framework. They're not trying to overthrow physics, They're just trying to refine it. But eventually, problems start popping up that the old rules, they just can't solve. Kuhn called this moment a crisis, and it triggers what he famously called a paradigm shift. It's a full-on revolution that completely rewrites the rulebook. I mean, this is basically Team Break the Rules showing up and changing the entire game. So the parallel here is it's incredible when you think about it. An artistic genre works in the exact same way as a scientific paradigm. They're both these stable frameworks designed to perfect what we already know and, satisfy our expectations. You could almost say that genre fiction is the normal science of storytelling. Okay, so we've got the rule followers and we've got the rule breakers. But what about those rare creators who don't just play the game, but invent a whole new one from scratch? These are the works that hit a kind of God mode. They are so wildly innovative that they don't just break the rules, they literally create a brand new set of rules that everyone else starts to follow. I mean, take Frankenstein. Sure, it came out of the Gothic horror tradition, but it asked these profound new questions about creation. And in doing so, it basically created the entire paradigm for modern science fiction. Or think about The Lord of the Rings. It didn't just tell a fantasy story, it built the whole world, the whole blueprint that epic fantasy has been exploring ever since. And then you have novels like Neuromancer, which didn't just break a few rules, it created the entire game board that we now call cyberpunk. And this right here reveals the fundamental cycle of culture. Today's huge revolution becomes tomorrow's boring old routine. A groundbreaking work comes along, it inspires a whole generation of followers, and they turn its innovations into a stable genre, which, of course, just sets the stage for the next rule breaker to come along and shake things up all over again. So, we've seen the what of how this works, but now we've got to ask the big one. Why? Why does this same exact pattern of stability and then revolution show up everywhere, from science labs to movie scripts? Well, it is time for the ultimate cheat code. Believe it or not, it all comes down to this concept from neuroscience called the free energy principle. Now, I know it sounds super complex, but the core idea is actually pretty simple. Every living system, and I mean every system from a single brain cell to an entire culture, absolutely hates surprises. They are, at their core, prediction machines, and their number one goal is to make the world as predictable as possible so they don't waste energy. And any prediction machine like this has two basic moves it can make to avoid surprise. Strategy 1, you act on the world to make it fit what you already predict is going to happen. Strategy 2, If that doesn't work and you get surprised, well, you update your internal model of the world to make better predictions next time. And this, right here, brings us full circle, right back to our two teams. Genre fiction? That's our culture using strategy 1. It's actively pumping out stories that match our expectations, reinforcing the shared simulation we all live in. But that rule-breaking, literary fiction? That's strategy 2 in action. It hits us with a surprise, something unexpected, that forces our collective cultural brain to update its model, to actually learn something new about what a story can be. So this leaves us with one last big idea to chew on. This constant push and pull between the familiar and the brand new, it isn't a flaw in the system. It's the engine. It's the very thing that keeps our culture alive and moving forward. And knowing this, it kind of changes your role, doesn't it? You're not just a passive consumer anymore, you're an active participant. So the next time you choose what to watch or read or play, you can ask yourself a new question. Am I reinforcing the simulation, or am I helping it evolve?